Life Class by Pastor Cesar Castellanos. Week 2. The Best Deal of Your Life. Day 8. The Best Deal of Your Life. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. Matthew chapter 13, verses 45 to 46. Jesus once told a story about a merchant who was looking for pearls. When the man found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had so that he could buy it. Although it may well appear that the man made a hasty decision, the merchant was confident that he was doing the right thing. He could clearly see that the value of the pearl was so great that it was worth everything he owned. That merchant is Jesus, and the pearl he purchased represents us. He gave everything he had to pay the price for our salvation. Derek Prince once spent over a year in a military hospital bed in Egypt with what doctors said was an incurable skin disease. The hopelessness of the situation led him into a dark valley of despair for some time. One day, he had an unexpected visit from two Christian ladies who had made a rather difficult journey simply so that they could pray for him. As they prayed, the power of God descended. One of the women shared a prophetic word from God, which went on to become foundational in Prince's ministry. Consider the work of Calvary, a perfect work, perfect in every aspect, perfect in every aspect. Although his skin condition did not improve during their time of prayer, Derek Prince realized that God had shown him the source from which he could receive the complete and absolute provision, the cross of Calvary. Jesus spent most of his time in the ministry with his 12 disciples. Although they believed that he was the promised Messiah, there came a time when they were surprised to hear him say, "And I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself." John chapter 12, verse 32. The crowd responded, "We have heard from the law that the Messiah will remain forever. So how can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is the Son of Man?" John chapter 12, verse 34. They still did not understand that Jesus had to endure the crucifixion so that the doors of hope could be opened for all people throughout all of history, irrespective of their race, religious background, culture, or social economic position. Once he had been lifted up, the cross would draw all people to Christ. Even the 12 disciples had to experience this revelation for themselves. Many years ago, my wife was in a meeting with her team of 12. She was teaching them that the revelation of the cross should be foundational in the life of every Christian. She read from John chapter 17, verse 3, and encouraged each of the women there to ask the Lord to reveal the cross to them personally. As soon as she prayed, "God, give me a revelation of the cross," she had the most extraordinary experience. God took her spirit and united it with the Spirit of Christ at the moment of his crucifixion. She was literally able to feel everything Jesus had experienced whilst on the cross. Her spiritual eyes were opened, and she was able to see the darkness that had been over the earth at that time. Jesus is the only person who knew he had been born to die. He understood that his purpose was to die on the cross of Calvary. There was no other way. Only through the death and sacrifice of Jesus Christ could humanity be redeemed. That was why he told the Pharisees, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days." John chapter 2, verse 19b. They did not understand. They thought he was talking about a building, but he was actually speaking about his own sacrifice. He knew that when he died on the cross, he would seal the redemption of all humanity. Paul understood the meaning of crucifixion more than most because he experienced Christ daily. He said, "I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me." Galatians chapter 2, verse 20a. The cross should not simply be an occasional experience for us. It should be a daily encounter that leads us to apprehend all that God has won for us through His sacrifice. Live the lesson. Number 1. Discover God's plan of salvation in more depth by looking up the following Bible verses and answering the questions below. Why did Jesus come into the world? 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 15. Who did Jesus call and who received him? Matthew chapter 9, verse 13, and Luke chapter 15, verse 2. Did Jesus ever sin? Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15, and 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 22. What did Jesus carry for us on the cross? 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 24. Why did Jesus die on the cross? 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18. Number 2. The cross opened the door of hope in my life. I know that I can do all things through Christ because He strengthens me. Remember the lesson. I need to have a personal revelation of the perfect work of the cross every day. Study the Word. Read Psalm 16, Psalm 17, Proverbs 8, John 9. This audiobook is narrated by Paulin Lu for the purpose of helping life class students. All credit belongs to Pastor Cesar Castellanos and his team of translators, and all glory belongs to our Lord Jesus Christ. No copy infringement intended.